Hello, James here.
So, unsere Grid Girls gehen schon mal wieder von den Verantwortungsstellungen runter, ähnlich auch jetzt die ganzen Helfer. Reifen sind montiert, da darf man jetzt nicht mehr nachlegen und ihr werdet spätestens im Rennverlauf werden die Strecke aber auch dass wirklich alle hier mit den Hancock Slicks unterwegs sind, sodass ich Ihnen jetzt die Startaufstellung vom Training gestern ist jetzt der Pro-Setter und deswegen war man natürlich sehr, sehr happy, als Lukas Niederscheider die frohe Runde gefahren bis TCR. Für den 10. Platz in diesem Feld kann man sich schon einmal freuen, überhaupt keine Frage. Es ist ein mit seinem Auto im Teamzelt von Harry Frotschick, da halten die Österreicher natürlich zusammen. Also Lukas Niederscheider als Pole-Setter in der Fahrrichtung gesehen. Zumindest mal diese erste Startreihe kennt ihr in Oschersleben. Sonntagsrennen. Training, Pole-Setter, damit für Sonntag. Und dann hat der 21-jährige Schweizer heute in das Rennen schon stark reflektiert und hat das Ding trotz zweier Safety-Car-Phasen mal sowas von souverän nach Hause gefahren. Respekt konnte man damals sagen. In die Top 10 gefahren. Er kam nämlich als Vierter ins Ziel und damit ein tolles mit Dimolikin Engstler Ergebnis komplettiert. Dann kommen wir in die zweite Startreihe. Da steht ein junger Mann mit der Startnummer 99, somit der schnellste der Cargo-Fahrzeuge. Vorzeitig auch die Sinne streichen musste und die 18, das ist das Auto, das eingesetzt wird von Pro Sport Performance. AC Mailand, das ist München und Sheldon von der Linde. Auch einer der Favoriten am heutigen Tag zu zählen ist, aber da kommen noch einige und natürlich sind die Bedingungen vielleicht eher etwas für die leicht erfahreneren oder für die mit mehr Erfahrung. Absolut gleich. In diesem sehr, sehr qualitativ und quantitativ großartigen Start. Erzählt von der Linie, also in der ebenfalls zweiten Startreihe. Wir haben genannt der Start Nummer 41 Bericht von erfahrenen Piloten Sprecher. 41 gestern ja als Zwölfter ins Ziel kam und aber er ist natürlich, oder man hat sich natürlich riesig gefreut für den Sieg seines Teamkollegen Moritz Österreich.
Well, a very good morning and welcome back to Oschersleben for round 3 of 7 in the ADAC TCR Germany 2017 calendar. Race 2 of 2 to bring you this morning then in what looks like rather wet conditions out there on the track. We had a bone dry race yesterday, still had lots of drama, mind you, on the track today, though it is a little bit wetter, a little bit more damp, which makes, of course, for more tricky conditions. The championship then currently dominated by Josh Files, who has had a bit of a tricky weekend so far as we look on the track there, and it looks like Chris Richard has struggled to get off the line. He's had all sorts of problems so far this race weekend, catching on fire on the final lap of the race yesterday, so we'll keep an eye on what happens there. But yeah, going back to yesterday's race, and Josh Files, our runaway championship leader at the moment, ended up finishing 10th after what was an incident-packed race for him. He was trying to overtake as many drivers as he could throughout the duration of the race, but in the end went off the track towards the end and was unable to pick up too many points, although managed to extend his championship lead by 10 points because his nearest rivals, Sheldon van der Linde and Chris Richard, who we saw on our screen a moment ago struggling, failed to score any points yesterday. So he has indeed extended his championship lead. Let's have a look at the grid for this race then. And it is Lukas Niederscheider who lines up on pole position. He finished, of course, 8th yesterday. Florian Thoma lines up alongside him at the front of the grid. He finished 4th. In 3rd place is Tim Zimmerman. He was 5th in the race yesterday, so not a bad weekend for him, seeing if he can perhaps improve on that and see if he can get off to a good start. And then we have Sheldon van der Linde, who is, well, currently 2nd in the championship standings, but didn't actually finish the race yesterday, so no points for him. So he's going to be looking to try and improve that and see if he can put some pressure on Josh Files. Josh Files then is on 162 points currently in the standings, ahead of Sheldon van der Linde, who is on 97. None of Josh Files' competitors scoring particularly good points yesterday then. Steve Kirsch managed to get 10 extra points, so that's put him up to 3rd in the standings, but he's currently qualifying in 5th position. So Josh Files starting all the way back in 14th. He's had a very impressive season so far with 3 race victories, 1 3rd place, and of course that 10th place finish yesterday. He starts in 14th place. What can he do from there to try and stop the rot that happened yesterday? We saw him trying to battle through, and with more difficult conditions today, it may well be difficult to try and get himself up the grid. But it does, of course, pretty much look like it's going to be some exciting racing conditions. We see Josh Files on our screen there in the blue and white car, the Target SRL Honda Civic touring cars. And the cars then lining up on the grid. And in fact, our pole sitter, Lukas Niederscheider, a little bit eager there to line up on pole position and went a little bit forward and had to reverse. So good job he noticed that, otherwise he would have, you can see on your screens now, that's a quick replay of what happened there. So the drivers then just finishing their formation lap as they line up on the grid. 37 runners starting the race today. And we're seeing Chris Richard now making his way around. And it looks like he might have to start from the back of the grid. So that's a hugely disappointing then for Chris Richard. Yes, he will have to start from the back of the grid. So that is very unfortunate for him. So, cars lined up on the grid then, as we're about to begin our second race of the weekend. The green flag has been waved, so the lights are on. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Engines are starting, and we are go here at Oschersleben, the second race of the weekend, as the cars make their way down the start straight finish. A decent start then for Florian Thoma as he challenges for the lead. Taking the outside line, can he get in above Niederscheider then? As they race down to the beginning, the first hotel corner. Clean getaway. Well, I was about to say a clean getaway from all of our drivers, but it is Niederscheider that goes off the track then, and he's taken out Florian Thoma in the process. So our front 2 drivers coming together then at the beginning of the race. They were battling for position going into hotel corner, and that's a poor start from those 2 then. And then we have Van der Linde. Oh, another bad start for Sheldon Van der Linde, who didn't finish yesterday, so he's second in the championship and hasn't managed to get away. So it is Thoma in first position, so it wasn't him that came together with Niederscheider. Steve Kirsch then up to second from 5th place. A fantastic start by him. Let's have a look, see where Josh Flies managed to get up to after that start. So just the car settling into some sort of rhythm then, so make their way around the chicane. Like I said, wet conditions, but you can see that there is a dry racing line, so the drivers are going to be trying to stick to that as best they can. And we have another car off then. To be expected, I guess, with these conditions. And hey, look, Josh Files is all the way up to, I think, 6th position from 14th. A fantastic start by him. Really good stuff by the British Championship leader, so he is in a position now to attack, possibly even for a podium finish. There we see a battle going on there between Jason Wolf and I think it was Pascal Obel. So Josh Files all over the back then of Niels Langeveld, who finished 6th yesterday. And in fact, Langeveld going up the inside there of Engsler, if that's for position. So he's in up a place. So having a look then at the current standings, it is Thoma that leads, Steve Kirsch in 2nd, Engsler in 3rd, Langeveld in 4th, and Josh Files up to 5th place. A fantastic start by him, but the drama really at the beginning of the race was between 1st place and 2nd place. Niederscheider and Thoma coming together. And we can see Thoma, in fact, battling away there with car 41, which is Steve Kirsch. So Steve Kirsch under a bit of pressure himself there from Niels Langeveld. Well, we have another retirement, and that is car number 11, which is Jürgen Small, has gone into the gravel. So some of the drivers succumbing to the tricky conditions. We're going to see a replay of what happened there. And he just spun out, making his way into the corner, and has beached his car in the gravel. The yellow flag's being raised. I don't think we'll have a safety car from that position. They should hopefully be able to get the car away fairly straightforward. So Thoma leads, Kirsch all over the back of him. Files, a fantastic start by him, starting in 14th up to 5th place as he looks to extend that championship lead. And the safety car is out. The safety car is out then, and that will be as a result of that spin by Jürgen Small. So, safety car deployed then. We're only 2 laps into this race as they look to clear up some of the mess from that rather messy start.
Interview bei Sheldon van der Linde, der ist natürlich zutiefst geknickt. Wir schauen trotzdem auf den Monitor und sagen, Florian Thoma hat den Start wirklich souverän hinbekommen. Auf der vermeintlich etwas schlechteren linken Seite hatte er einen richtig guten Start. Das wiederum kann man, wie gesagt, vom Polesetter von Lukas Niederscheider überhaupt nicht behaupten. Der fährt übrigens gerade eben auf der 18. Position durch Dillon. Also, Florian Thoma für Sportteam Köln. Der wird natürlich hier seine Chance suchen und würde ihm mögliche offene Tür gerne eintreten, um da vielleicht ganz oben auf dem Podest zu stehen. Gestern Moritz Österreich, heute vielleicht der Steve Kirsch für das Team Schule Sport in Honda. Wir werden sehen. Steve Kirsch also auf der das Podium für den Holländer in der Startnummer 14 für das Team auf Platz 4, Platz Luca Exner.
So we're just getting a quick replay of the start there, and you can see one of the cars on the grid, Sheldon van der Linde, struggling to get away. There's some evasive action then to try and avoid hitting into the back of him, and that's not really worked out well for Rest car number 3. And you see a massive spin there from Niederscheider as he looks to defend the attack of Florian Thoma. We'll get another view now of that start. Well, it's initially a good getaway from Niederscheider, but it is Thoma who got the better of the start. He races ahead, and you can also see Zimmerman with a very good start there as the cars make their way into the hotel corner. Lots of action obviously going on behind. Another view here then, and it was really a good start by Thoma. Niederscheider, you can't help but sense, was quite nervous because he didn't manage to park his car up on the grid properly, so it kind of gives you the impression there was a few race jitters there. And here we again seeing that spin by car number 11, Jürgen Schmal, and that is of course the result of that safety car, and we see the car currently being dragged away. And there, as you can see on your screens, incident involving cars 42 and 99 under investigation. So that's Lukas Niederscheider and Tim Zimmerman. So safety car is coming in this lap. So safety car will be in this lap, and we can go racing again. A rolling start, of course. Very impressed with that start by Josh Files. He's already up to 5th place. What can he do from here? So the safety car then is pulling off the track, and it is the duty of the leading driver to set the pace for the rest of the pack. It is, of course, Florian Thoma, who finished 4th yesterday. And we are racing again here at Oschersleben. Closely contested then by Steve Kirsch, the car behind him. All cars get away cleanly so far. Making their way now down the start-finish straight, and off we go. Green flags wave, so we are racing. And Kirsch looking then perhaps to try and make a move initially. Files all over the back of Engstler as they make their way into the hotel corner. Battles for position all up and down the grid, and we've lost another driver, and this is in fact Jason Wolf. But we'll come back to that in a moment. There is a real battle here between Thoma and Kirsch. And I think Thoma has got the job done, but can he hold position? Wheel-to-wheel racing by these two drivers. Thoma is really trying to hold off the progression of Kirsch, but he just about manages to keep track position, and that's good driving by both drivers. Wheel-to-wheel racing there, managing not to collide. Good stuff. Files, meanwhile, all over the back still of Engstler. Langeveld as well, putting pressure on Kirsch. I think we're going to see what happened at the back there, and it was coming together between two of our back runners there. Larson, who had problems of his own yesterday. I think it was possibly Larson that caused the safety car to come yesterday, but back with the action. And it is still Thoma out front. Oh, and there's a coming together there between Kirsch and Langeveld. Kirsch is in the gravel. Kirsch is in the gravel. He was challenging for the race lead, and that is his car beat, and we have another safety car. Another safety car. Well, this was to be expected, wasn't it? Because we've got damp conditions, but that's really sad for Steve Kirsch because he was causing problems there, and we've got cars just beached all over the track, really. So, yeah, we're going to have another safety car. Josh Files then up to 4th place. Let's have a look again what happened here. A little nudge in the back there by Nars Langeveld. That one might well be investigated by the race stewards, and that is essentially the end of Steve Kirsch's afternoon. He was challenging for the lead. He looks understandably quite aggravated, the German in his car. Not happy with that at all, is he? And when it's not your fault, it makes it all that more frustrating. So Steve Kirsch is out of this race as he sits there in the Sachsen EV, Honda Civic TCR, of course. So Thoma leads. Part of the secret to success, of course, in conditions like this, is just staying out of trouble. But it's a mental battle of if you want to push for places. Steve Kirsch there, of course, beached on the side there, and his car will be removed. And once you're on the gravel like that, there's not a lot you can do as Riker comes into the pits, getting a change of tyres. Let's get another replay then of what happened between car 17. That was our back markers that came together. That was Larson, I think, wasn't it, that came in together with Pre-Sig. And, yep, as to be expected, that collision between Langeveld and Kirsch to be investigated by the stewards. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some further action there, because there wasn't a lot Kirsch could have done about that. He got nudged in the back, and that's ended his race. Whether or not they'll put it down to a racing incident or not remains to be seen, but we are still behind the safety car here. 5 laps gone, 18.5 minutes remaining then of this second race of the weekend here in Oschersleben, approaching the halfway stage of the season. Tyres need to be kept warm then, and you can see the drivers darting from left to right there. Our leader, Florian Thoma, has been defending well and was against Steve Kirsch, who was potentially pushing for a race lead. Let's head back down to the pit lane now. So thanks to Patrick then, our pit lane reporter, and whilst that interview was underway, we had a message flash up on our screens here. As you can see, the frustration there from Steve Kirsch, still fuming on the side of the track there. But yes, we saw a notice flash up here in the commentary booth saying that Lucas Niederscheider, who was obviously on pole, is under investigation. We're just seeing now the cause of the first safety car, which was Jürgen Schmal, going off the track. And he's applauding, ironically, one of the other drivers who was involved in that incident. Frustration amongst these drivers when their race is brought to a premature end is evident for all to see. So 7 laps completed then, at least 3 of which have been behind the safety car, not to anyone's surprise really when you consider the conditions out there at the moment. We've got some frustrated drivers sitting by their cars at the moment. So we're just waiting then for car 17 to be removed. There is Steve Kirsch, still fuming, absolutely furious. He knew the race win was potentially in his grasp. He just cannot believe what's happened. It is frustrating for him. You do have to sympathise. Now we see our championship leader, Josh Files, who's done well to stay out of trouble so far. He is a feisty driver, and we saw him battling yesterday. He only managed a 10th place finish, but today he's up from 14th, right up until first place. It does seem like they're struggling to remove that car there, which is car number 17, Jasmine Plastic. Some nervy faces in the pit lane then looking by as the drivers attempt to battle these tricky conditions. And it looks like the recovery vehicle has managed to latch on to car number 17. 14.5 minutes remaining then. 7 laps completed. At the halfway stage of this race, much of which has been behind the safety car after an eventful start to this race. So drivers then desperately trying to keep their brakes up to temperature, trying to keep their tyres warm as well, weaving from left to right. As the clock ticks down. And everybody keen for the race to begin once again. Wouldn't be surprised if the safety car was in this lap as they remove then car number 17. You can see those front wheels locked. Not the easiest of jobs, this. There we go. Got that wheel moving, which makes the job a lot easier. Pricing then involved in that incident a little bit earlier. We had 2 cars beached, so it was absolutely the right decision to bring out the safety car. Are we going to see the safety car in this lap then, or is it going to be in the next? Thoma out front at the moment. Started, of course, Thoma from second on the grid, overtaking Niederscheider straight away from the start of the race. Josh Files then all the way up to 4th place. Fantastic. He's really making a name for himself in TCR this year. Can he squeeze onto the podium? And potentially extending his championship lead even further. Maurice Ostersleben is probably his closest competitor in the standings. The safety car will stay out for another lap, so we'll have at least one more lap then behind the safety car before we can start racing again. You can see the clock at the top of your screens there. 11 minutes 50 remaining of this second race of the weekend. 9 laps gone so far. And we're just once again seeing that incident there between Schmeil and one of the drivers behind him who clipped him. And we saw a replay a little bit earlier of Schmeil just ironically clapping the driver that caught the back of him. Just going through some more incidents here. And that was another one of another spin out. Just this is Steve Kirsch retiring from the race. And, you know, once you're on that gravel, there is very little you can do to get the car running again. The front wheels just lock up, don't they? And that's essentially race over. And he is so frustrated. Safety car then in this lap. So once they've completed this current lap of the racetrack, we will be racing again. So safety car once again in. It will be down to Florian Thoma then to control the pace. first few corners before it ducks back into the pits. Hopefully we won't have to see the safety car again, and we can get a little bit more racing, because over half of this race has been behind the safety car for various incidents. Keep your eyes on that man, car number 1, Josh Files, in the Honda Civic Tarvik SLR. He has done a fantastic job so far. So all eyes now on Thoma as he speeds away, and we're going to wait for the green flag before we're racing again. And off we go. We are racing once again in Oschersleben then. Thoma leads, Langeveld in second, Ensler third, Files in fourth, as we see various cars attacking for position. And that is Procek on Latzenschlanger for position there. Oh, and there's been another lock-up, another spin. Oh, and he's fishtailing all over the show. Can he keep it under control? No, he can't. Meanwhile, that's puts Josh Files up into third place, battling now for second place, and Files is indeed up into second place from 14th on the grid all the way up to second place. And it is Langeveld now leading the race. And Thoma, after managing himself so well this race, has succumbed to the pressure finally and is off. So Files from 14th up to second. Langeveld now leads, but he is indeed under investigation. Drama here on the second race of the weekend here in Oschersleben. We might get a replay of what happened in a moment, but we're staying with the race action as Langeveld has pulled away a slight advantage over Files. If Files was to win this from 14th, it really would be an accomplishment, especially in these conditions. You can see a bit of fairing flapping off Tim Zimmerman's car there. I'm looking forward to seeing a replay to see what happens to poor old. And there is indeed a drive-through penalty for Kramwinkel. Let's have a look again what happened here. Well, it just didn't take the corner well, did he? Just sliding all over the shop. Thoma then slipping down the leaderboard. And then we see Jose Rodriguez sliding off. And it is indeed a drive-through penalty for Niederscheider after that poor start. His day's just got even worse. I think we're going to see a replay of what happened here to Rodriguez. Yeah, he just lost control, didn't he, and spun off. Back, and meanwhile back to the action of a little bump there as car number 99 says thank you very much and takes position. So our new race leader is Nars Langeveld. Second place is Josh Files, and third place is Engsler, and fourth place is Morris Ostreich, who won of course yesterday as well, looking for his second podium of the weekend so far. That certainly can't help with the aerodynamics of that car, but being managed well at the moment. And you saw a bit of fairing flapping away there. And there we see Tom Lauschlanger. Trying to see what position Thoma has slipped down to. I think he may well have retired actually after that lack of grip and loss of control. So Langeveld managing the pace out front. Files 1.2 seconds behind though, so Langeveld is actually pulling away slightly. All sorts of drama then in this race so far. Namely so for Lukas Niederscheider, who started this race on pole, let's not forget, and has had a series of problems, one of which including a drive-through penalty. And that is indeed the car number 98, which you see with the loose fairing, Tom Lauschlanger. So a little bit of daylight then for Langeveld out front, as our front riders seem to be settling into a rhythm. And a good battle for position going on there between Max Hofer and Tom Lautenschlager. Pretty good race as well by Luca Ensler. Nearly a 2-second gap then between Langeveld and Fars. Fars, I think, probably pretty content with the second place finish at the moment, bearing in mind he finished started the race in 14th and finished 10th yesterday, so second place really would be an incredible result from where he started. So 5 minutes of this race remaining, 13 laps gone so far, and indeed there will be an investigation between, for an instance, between cars 14 and 39, which is Lars Langeveld, who is leading the race, and car number 39, which is Florian Thoma. So we're going to see what happens there, because it is our race leader who is currently under investigation. So, was something to come of that, then there is confirmation in incident involving car number 14, Lars Langeveld, and car number 39, Florian Thoma, is under investigation. If something does come of that, then we could well see Josh Files winning this race. Wouldn't that be remarkable? He's keeping his distance at the moment, over 2 seconds. The gap between those two at the moment, between Langeveld and Files. Engstler fairly comfortable in third place. I think a lot of the drivers now just happy to maybe sit back and enjoy a bit of racing. You can see that bit of furring still flapping away then on Tim Zimmerman's car. He started the race, of course, in third place, so he's not particularly had a good day at the office. Down now in 13th. And up the inside then goes Thoma, as he looks to try and regain some of that lost ground, back up to 11th place now. And Thoma starting to make a little bit of a headway as he tries to gain some ground. He's just made another move there, up to 10th place, so back into the top 10. He could have won this race had he have not succumbed to the pressure of the restart after the safety car. So no further action in between Chris Richard and Kai Jordan. Been a busy day for the stewards, and we're just seeing a little bit of a coming together there between Alexandra Morgan and Sven Markert, just tapping into each other. And that's a bit of a wide line there we can see from car 36, which is Dino Calcum. So they do seem to have settled into their rhythm then. The front runners, 14 laps gone, 2 minutes 20 remaining. There's that bit of fairing still flapping around. And there's another car gone off here. That is car 23. That's Sebastian Steibel. Are we going to see another safety car? Because that's not in a particularly safe position. I think we're going to see the cause of that incident there. Yep, he's just clipped on his way around the corner. Didn't particularly get the corner well. Wasn't a bit of a mess there. And is he going to make his way back on the track? I think so, yeah. So we're not going to get another safety car, which is a relief. We will finish, as it stands, this race racing as opposed to behind the safety car. So Langeveld leads. Files in second place. Engstler in third. Ostreich in fourth. And Procek in fifth. We see a battle for position here between cars 31, which is Floris Dolat, and Fabian Dance. Drama then in this second race of the weekend. Two very different conditions for both of the races here in Oschersleben. Simon Larsen then holding up that midfield battle for the 20th place. He's had an eventful weekend himself so far, causing one of the safety cars to come out in the previous race. The gap between Langeveld and Files, 2.5 seconds now. Engsler a further second and a half behind. 2 seconds behind him is Osterreich, who's looking to back up his first place finish with a 4th place finish today. There we can see that gap then between Langveld and Fahls and Engsler. Unless there's any incident on this next final lap, then we're seeing the battle for position there between Zimmermann with that flapping bit of fairing and Sandro Kaibach. Oh, and it results in Kaibach heading a little bit wide. Zimmermann all over the back of him. In the battle for 11th. Zimmermann's car certainly does tell a story, doesn't it? All over the back of him then. And this, as the clock is down to 0. Incident involving car number 23 has been classified as a racing incident. That's Sebastian Steibel. And there goes Zimmermann, gets the job done in the end. A little bit of flapping fairing on the side of his car is no problem for him. Meanwhile, back then with our race leader, Lars Langeveld, as he makes his way around the final corners of the track. As we've mentioned, various battles up and down the grid. What an exciting race has been. Fahls now 3.7 seconds behind Langeveld. And it is indeed Lars Langeveld that wins here at Oschersleben. He backs up an 8th place finish. If he can manage to keep things together then on the final lap. Fahls in 2nd. I don't think there's going to be too much danger then of him challenging for a race lead. He's 3.7 seconds. Lucas Engsler 5.3 seconds behind the race lead. And we see potentially an interesting battle there for 3rd place, Engsler and Osterreich. But I don't think there's going to be enough time left for either driver to worry too much. On the final lap of this race then, all eyes currently then on Osterreich and Projek. There is Halder in 8th place at the moment. But we come back to our race leader, Lars Langeveld, who has ducked in and out of various incidences in and around him. A decent race by Langeveld, starting on 10th on the grid, making his way all the way through the traffic, all the way through the dramas, various safety cars having to control pace, battling with the likes of Steve Kirsch, and it is indeed Lars Langeveld who gets his first win of the season. An impressive victory from him. Josh Files then finishing in 2nd place. He extends his lead at the top of the championship. Luca Engsler completes the podium. Moritz Osterreich, who won, of course, yesterday. A good weekend for him, some good points scored. He backs it up with a 4th place finish. Sadly for Chris Richard, he was unable to really make any kind of impact this weekend. 2 DNFs for him. Same story for Sheldon van der Linde, who has also had a very disappointing weekend. But that's our man there, Lucas Niels Langeveld, who is our race winner, coming through some very tricky conditions. The Dutch driver, and he is our race winner. So you see the appreciation from one of our young fans there. He's enjoyed his day at the racing so far. Lars Langeveld, who before this racing weekend was not a real contester for the championship. In fact, he was all the way down in 20th. But he managed to pick up a 6th place finish yesterday, which has given him obviously 23 points. And a win today, so that's a very handy 63 points he's going to pick up, taking his total then to 86 points, which will easily move him into the top 10. But in conditions like this, it really is just about managing your race and managing your expectations and not driving too aggressively. And that's what he's done. Josh Files in a similar position to our race winner, starting quite far down the grid in 14th place, making his way very early on the first lap. He went right up to 6th place and managing the tricky conditions and managing the various problems with the safety cars, etc. And there he is, our championship leader, who was on 162 points before today. Pick up another 36 points, so a quick bit of maths puts him on 196 points, I think, as he just makes his way off the track, then acknowledging the fans and waving to the various spectators gathered here to watch him race. And he is sitting very comfortably at the top of the championship. It is very quick maths, but I believe he is the only driver to be above 100 points, and he very well nearly 100 points ahead of his nearest rival, with Sheldon van der Linde and Chris Richard both failing to score points, as was Steve Kirsch. So, very impressive victory there. Our race winner just about to exit his car, Niels Langeveld of the Netherlands. Arms raised. He looks very pleased with himself, doesn't he? Oh, that was a bit close, wasn't it? Luke Exler then just pulling in next to him. That was Langeveld then celebrating with his team. Job well done from him. That very well could have been a different story had Steve Kirsch not have gone up. Hear him celebrating with his team. So it's hugs all round then. That's Luca Engskler. Of course, he had a podium this season, first podium of the season, I believe. He's managed to finish in 3rd place, and there's Josh Files, who is understandably very happy with that 2nd place, giving acknowledgement to his car. He's getting used to being on the podium, I think, isn't he? 3 wins already this season, a 3rd place, and now a 2nd place. He's been on every seat on the podium. Finished, of course, 10th yesterday. That's not going to bother him too much now after that impressive display. Managing the conditions well to finish up in 2nd place. So in a few moments, we're going to head down to the pit lane, where we're going to hear the thoughts of our race winner, Niels Langeveld, and hear his account of how he managed his way through those tricky conditions. Story of the day then is Niels Langeveld and Josh Files battling through traffic to make their way onto the top 2 places on the podium. Engstler, of course, starting on row 3 back in 7th place. He did pretty well, didn't he, to get himself on the podium as well. So our pole sitter, Lucas Niederscheider, had a very difficult day in the office. Florian Thoma too, with various problems. Let's make our way now down to the pit lane and hear the thoughts of our race winner, Niels Langeveld. heard thoughts then of Nars Langeveld, our race winner. And he's obviously understandably ecstatic then, and giving his account of the race. And we'll be heading over, of course, to the podium in a couple of minutes to see the drivers soaking themselves in champagne. Tricky conditions out there, of course, today. And it's quite a contrast to yesterday, where we had clear sunshine all day, very hot and humid, and the drivers then having to adjust themselves. Lukas Niederscheider, our pole position driver, sadly, with many problems throughout that race. Florian Thoma, who up until the second safety car looked to be in a pretty good position. But there were a few problems, of course, for him too. He ends up spinning out, going off the track, and also commiserations to Steve Kirsch, who understandably was very frustrated not to have challenged for the lead, because he was doing a pretty good job of attacking the race leader at that point. And there is a confirmation then of the classification. Langeveld finishing first, Files in second, Engstler in third, Ostreif with an impressive race weekend, first and fourth for him, Project in fifth, completing then the top 5 drivers. Laustenschlager in 6th, Hofer in 7th, Holder in 8th, Thoma then eventually finishing in 9th. Confirmation then of the remaining drivers. Simon Larson with a fairly eventful weekend. And there's confirmation then of the drivers who were unable to finish. Lukas Niederscheider with a 10-second grid penalty. As you can see now, the Formula 4 cars warming up on the track, and that's a little indication, isn't it, of how quickly the track is passed over to the next sport. So do hang around then. We're going to have our driver's podium coming up now. But from me, for the latest ADAC Touring Cars Germany, James Endux bringing you commentary. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It's been a pleasure bringing you live coverage. Until next time.
Da kann man schon mal in sich gehen und tief schlucken. Die Nationalhymne für den Sieger für Nils Langenfeld und aus den Händen des Founder and Owner of TCR, Marcello Lotti, bekommt er nun seinen Pokal, den Pokal für den Laufsieg. Nils Langenfeld vom Team Racing One. Glückwunsch! Auf Platz Nummer 2, damit baut er seine Meisterschaftsführung aus. Josh Feitz für das Team Target Competition, und er bekommt den Preis von Jürgen Wiedemann, dem Vorstandsmitglied für Sport des ADAC selbst. Und Klaus-Peter Kniedl überreicht Platz Nummer 3 an Luca Engstler. Und Klaus-Peter Kniedl ist der Motorsportleiter von Norddeutschland. Weiter geht es mit dem Preis für das beste Team. Ja, Jürgen Wiedemann noch einmal mit dem Preis für das Team Racing One und Martin Kohlhaas. Und Klaus-Peter Kniedl noch einmal mit dem Pokal für den besten Rookie, der Drittplatzierte in diesem Rennen für das Team Liquimoli Engstler. Das ist Luca Engstler. Herzlichen Glückwunsch an alle. Ihr habt definitiv für reichlich Action gesorgt. Da können wir ein Buch von füllen, von den Aktionen in diesem Rennen. Jetzt erstmal ein Foto machen. So, Foto. Martin, nee, warte. Du bist doch der erfolgreiche Teamchef. Also hier werden einfach gleich die Türen geschlossen. Aber erst wenn der Moderator drin ist. So, ich würde sagen, ich mache mich vom Acker. Wir sagen, liebe Jungs, tolles Rennen, ADAC TCR Germany, it's Champagne. Ja, lieber Sven, und du oben in der Sprecherkabine, ich habe es schon gesagt, ne, deine